Today my task is simple. I'm here to show you what's been going on behind the scenes with our ongoing effort to modify Wages of War and drag it into a more modifiable and ultimately playable state. So I would like to welcome you to the first update video for the OpenWages project. Currently there are 8 of us involved with this at any level, and we've only been at this a month or so, but there has been some substantial progress. What we have here in front of us is a Python script that allows for some nifty stuff to take place. This right here is a product of one person, WowJinxy, who slapped this together over the course of 2 or 3 days. We'll get some more information from them later, but for now let's dive into what this script allows us to do. What we have here is the Wages of War data editor. This provides an all-in-one solution for accessing all the data files and modifying them as you see fit. So let's start looking at some of this and figure out some of that hidden magic I ranted so much about. We'll take a look at my custom merc, me. We see all the usual stuff that I mentioned in the original video: stats, vitals, backstory. But we also get a glimpse of some of the hidden stats that the game uses to make its calculations. Over here, we have PSG, which stands for the individual merc's prestige, and is what determines their availability for missions in a somewhat sensible manner. The minimum value for prestige is -160, and I'm not quite sure what the maximum is. Let's take a look at some of these other mercs and see what I can see here. So I'm fairly certain the minimum is 160, so if we take a look at like Blackbeard, he's 210, and then Jaguar, who's supposed to be the most elite unit in the game, 320. Okay, so it seems the values run the gamut from 160 to 320. And what this means is that a low prestige merc will take any job, while a high prestige merc will only take jobs that offer substantially more money or reputation. This stat is what keeps you from running out 2 crack troops and sending them out to destroy that first mission, as opposed to the bunch of Hogan's Heroes you do end up sending instead. The game will randomly assign the mercs as unavailable if they're too high prestige for a mission. An interesting way to soft cap who you have available at any given time. Another hidden stat is the merc's DPR. This is their dependability rating, and determines things like how likely they are to be suppressed when under fire, as well as maybe their chance to lose radio contact. I'm not 100% on that and still need to do some more testing. But all these stats increase over time with successful missions and training sessions, but we knew that already. There's another prestige stat also, and that could be found in the mission data. If we open the data file for the first mission, we can see some interesting things. We see all the expected stuff like payment data, date and time of the mission, bonus terms, mission start time, etc. But if we look at the raw mission data, we see another line for prestige information. Well, first we see animation files for all the different NPCs. The woman being the hostage, the dogs, the helicopter and the truck have animations. They're there. I don't know what they do, but they're definitely in there. But if we take a look down here at this prestige line, we see mission type, entrance, number of maps, success 1, success 2, WIA, MIA, KIA, which all seem pretty self-explanatory. I'm currently trying to determine how this feeds into the merc prestige calculation for mission availability. I'm still working on figuring that one out, so hopefully by the next update video I'll have something more concrete to show here. We also get an enemy ratings chart, and I was surprised to see that the enemies have a dependability rating as well, meaning that while the game never signposts it, they can also suffer from suppression. Good to know. Now, I'm not sure what the their stat represents. That's honestly about the vaguest shit I've ever seen in my life, and I think maybe it just determines their chance of actually being on the map, but I haven't found out yet, but I will. There. Yeah, I don't know what that means. The values don't. 120, 120, 120, 72. Yeah, I don't know what the value. Anyways, we have an enemy weapons chart, which determines what gear they're walking around with. If we cross-reference that with the enemy ratings chart, I have to assume that the entries with 0 weapon skill are the dogs, as their hand-to-hand combat skill is a lot higher than the rest. I bet you them dogs no problem with God. Preloaded equipment is any weapons or items granted by the mission provider, and recommended equipment is precisely that. Mission weather is a % chance out of 100, so you can make every mission take place in a storm if you like. Travel table is the travel cost and time for travel, obviously. And down at the bottom, we have an interesting tidbit. Special turns, special type, special item, and special damage. This correlates to mission-specific things like countdowns, environmental damage, etc. If we take a look at the data for the second mission, which involves insertion into an irradiated desert, we can see that there is a special item, number 17, and a special damage of 2, along with a string notifying you when a merc begins taking damage in the form of radiation burns. I'm still in the process of figuring out the different values here, but this would allow for some interesting customization of the missions. Bringing it back to merc customization though, the process is somewhat involved and requires a thorough amount of cross-referencing if you want to get it right. And the same applies to weapon modification. We'll start with the mercenaries though. Editing their stats is the easiest and most basic form of modifying it, if you just want better performance out of them. Editing everything else gets a bit trickier though. A completely modified merc will require editing 5 different files at present. And if we head over to the Images tab, we can begin that process. So let's do this sequentially in the order you'll see the changes. First time you ever see a merc will be in the Rolodex. So let's open up the rolename.object file. Take a look. What we see immediately is the black and white mercenary portrait and their name on the strip of the card. Find the mercer you want to edit and hit the export selected PNG button. Let's go ahead and find my guy here. He's down here somewhere. Or is he up here somewhere? I always forget. Where is he? He's close, I know it. There I am. Okay, so you want to hit the export selected PNG button. And then go ahead and open it with whatever program you prefer. Make your edits. Save them. And head back to the editor. With the same entry that you exported still selected, click the Import Image into Selected button and choose the edited mercenary portrait you just made. You will need to select another entry and then go back in order to see the changes reflected. But now, you'll also want to edit their entry for the Rolodex name at the bottom of the hiring screen. This can be found in the roll sprite file, ROLSPR. Follow the same steps as before. Find their name. Okay, it'll really help if I find their name, export it. Wrong one. Export it, edit it. Ah, too close. Anyways, edit, re-import. Same thing. Select a new one. And then go back to it to see the changes reflected. Now the next time you see a merc would be during the loadout equipment phase. So at this time you're going to want to select the ARM EXE file. Not EXE, EXC file. And take a look. This part is tricky. And I'm brainstorming how best to organize this data to make this a little less painless. So when you look, you're going to see the different outfits, clothing, armor, etc. for the females and the males respectively. You're also going to see all the different equipment that they can apply to their paper doll. One for the males, one for the females. And really it's just a height difference between where the gun is actually being held. So again, this part is tricky. Let's find my head. So, to my knowledge, I'm not 100%, but it seems the order the mercs are placed in the role name file is reversed for the ARM EXC file. So you'll need to cross-reference them to find the merc head you're looking for. This can be made a little easier if you choose a merc who has unique features like Jaguar or Blackbeard. I chose Andy, and he just kind of looks like a dude, which made it pretty hard to figure out. Once again, find the merc you're looking for, export it, edit it, and re-import it back into the editor. Handsome fellow. You'll also need to open the wetbutt.pcx file and replace your merc's name there twice. One last modification. It's going to be changing the name that pops up when you hover your cursor over them during the mission. This one can be found in the cursors.spr file. Once again, you'd have to find their name. I guess you can edit the in-game icons too if you really felt like it. But you're going to want to find their name, export it, edit it, and replace it. Bear in mind, this is a tiny image. It's like 14 kilobytes. So you're going to have to brush up on your pixel font if you want something legible. But for now, that's it. Now let's suppose you want a nice custom weapon to go with your new custom Merc. Let's use a simple example, a pistol. I made a laser pistol. Heading over to the weapons tab, we can apply some basic changes to the weapon you want to modify. A brief overview of some of the stats. First and foremost is the weapon's reliability stat. This determines, as you can imagine, the weapon's chance to jam or outright break. Now, how the Ingram M10 has a reliability stat of 8, and the Colt Python originally has a reliability stat of like 1 or 2 is beyond me. Every time I've used an M10 in real life, multiple shells have gotten caught in the chamber. But regardless, you'll want to stick some appropriate numbers here for the weapon you want to add in. I'm not sure what ADF is. I knew it at one point, but I forgot. Now, PNC is an interesting one, though, because this determines the weapon's panic rating, how likely it is to make the enemy panic when you fire it. And it seems to go on a scale from 1 to 100. Because if we look at another weapon like the Browning, it's got a panic rating of 15. Well, the Makarov has a panic rating of 15. And if we go down to the M60, it has a panic rating of 75. PKM has a panic rating of 98. G11 a panic rating of 15. So as you can see, that determines how likely the enemy is to panic. And then there's also the weapon type, which will determine how the game, I guess, determines, well, I'm using the wrong word here. It's how the game determines what weapon you're actually holding, whether it's a pistol, a rifle, whatever. You've got ammo encumbrance, ammo cost, ammo name. Yeah, weapon type. So I believe 2 is pistols, 5 is SMGs, I think 4 is LMGs, or 4 is rifles maybe, 3 is shotguns. Sniper rifles are a 0? No, because the AKM is a 0 also, so I don't know what that's about. I think rifles are 0, but knives are 8, grenades are 7, Panzerfaust is 14, machine guns, LMGs are 4, so everything's got a number for a weapon type. We still have to suss all that out. Well, once you've done all that, though, you're going to want to apply it and save it. Then you want to flip back over to the Images tab and open up the catalog.object file. Find the weapon you want to modify and do the same thing you did before. Now you'll notice, upon opening the exported file, that all the that all the prerequisite text is a part of the image, and the actual sales numbers, if you scroll down here, are handled by the game. So go ahead and modify this to your heart's content, and then import it back into the catalog file. Your newly modified weapon will now be available for purchase in the game's catalogs. You'll need to modify the weapon's entry in the invent.spr file as well, bearing in mind that you will need to invert the text to white, in order to keep it consistent within the game. But this will make the modified weapon visible in the squad loadout screen. So now all we need to do is launch the game and look at some of these changes in effect. So you'll also notice that the script allows the game to run natively in a window, which is pretty neat. Now, let's see if I can get the... Boy, I'm going to struggle to get this to record the window, aren't I? Game capture. No, game capture is not working. Are we just going to... I bet it's just recording the Python screen right now. Oh boy, I hope not. Oh, okay, well the game started. Where is the video? There we go. Okay. So let's just go ahead and get this first mission going. Sounds a little spotty sometimes. And the CPU cycles are obviously not changed. Alright.
I need your assistance. I am not a wealthy man.
Why am I letting him talk over me? Yeah, CPU cycles aren't affected here. We'll have to modify that at some point. But yeah, it's first mission, so let's go ahead and open the Rolodex. First thing I'm going to do is check to make sure that my Merc isn't unavailable. Because that happens sometimes. And if I can't use my custom Merc on this mission, it kind of defeats the point of what I'm trying to do here. So I'm just going through the unavailable guys just to make sure he's not one of them. Okay, it seems like he will be available. Let's scroll back up. Let's find him. Where is he? Where is he? Ah, there he is. Also, I've noticed it didn't let me recruit Tiny. I guess he saw my video and decided against it. But yeah, okay, we'll go ahead and pick him up. You'll see the modified name down there. Now we head into the weapons catalog, and the first thing you'll see is our modified pistol. Let's go ahead and get that. And because I felt like being cheeky, I also modified the first mission to allow for an Uzi, because, you know, I want multiple guns to break on my first mission. Some basic supplies, med kit, armor, fence cutters, maybe a grenade or two. Grenade, another grenade, maybe a knife. Yeah, switchblade. Nah, we'll just take a survival knife. Yeah, and that's it. And now if we come here, boom, we see our modified Merc, we see our modified weapons. It's all going according to plan. So we're gonna equip him. We're gonna send him on his way. You can see the updated weapon Merc name there too as well. All right, let's do it.
Your team is in position on the high ground surrounding Salvatore's
Hacienda.
After a quick check of the
compound. So let's just dump them in there. And we immediately see that despite our adjustments, some things remain. And these are our next current targets and represent some of the final hurdles of this project before it sees a public release. So despite having access to all the game data, including the install disk, the editor is able to read the data off the mounted ISO as well. We'll show that in a minute. I have not been able to locate where the image data for the mercenary portraits or the weapon portrait is. As you've just seen, we've replaced all instances of both that can be found. So I'm genuinely at a loss and have no idea where this data is being stored or read from. My gut tells me that it's on the ISO somewhere, possibly even being read off the disk instead of in the install path. Probably an overhead thing, but I honestly have no idea. The in-mission mercenary portraits represent a large amount of data, relatively speaking, as each portrait has multiple variants with different backgrounds and clothing depending on the op. In a similar vein, I have no clue where the mercenary voice lines are being kept either. The voice lines from the mission providers and the mission music can all be found easily, yet these mercenary barks are hidden somewhere else entirely. But yeah, as you look, it says laser pistol, but it's also qualifying it as a rifle, so I'm not sure what I did wrong there. I'm going to have to figure that out. But see, Colt Python, we look at the inventory, it says laser pistol, but again, image of a Colt Python. But all my stats and everything are still the same. I don't know. Let's get out of this though and take a look at the last thing I want to talk about here briefly. Okay. So map assets for the individual levels are accessible. You just have to make sure you're choosing the oh wait, is it here? No. Okay. Yeah, it's not here. Let me make sure that the disc is mounted. The disc is mounted. All right. So what you want to do to edit the map assets, you want to open up the mounted disc. And oops. Okay. Wrong folder. You want to open up the mounted disk, choose the data folder, and now you're loading directly from the disk itself. And this will enable you to access the map assets. So we just come down here and open up scene 1. We've got all of this. So map assets for the individual levels are accessible and able to be edited. As far as unique data assigned to the map assets, like their destructibility, it seems like some maps allow for a normal and destroyed version of the various map assets, while others kinda don't. It's a little confusing. It seems like this first mission, they really went all out on the destructibility. And then for some of the later ones, there's a fair amount, but not as much. So I'm not quite sure what the deal is. See, as we look through, all those fence ones are the same from the first mission. But then like a lot of these interior items are kind of destroyed. And a lot of them don't have an alternative. A couple of multi-tile items. So yeah, obviously every map asset is a one-tile affair. At least it looks like a one-tile affair. But yeah, we've got all these different intact and destroyed map assets. Some of them, I like how some of them are just complete rubble. But I'm fairly confident all of these can be replaced. Big old tank. Yeah, big multi-tile affair. And then there's also a bunch of empty entries. And I'm not sure if this is just stuff they could have used but didn't, or if it's transparencies or what. And then these last few entries are on every mission file, and they just represent, like, you know, you see like the weird laser rifle you pick up in one mission. Crater, that's any item you drop. That's more items you can drop, and that's if you put down a satchel charge. So if you take a look at the, where is it, the mission files here, it would seem that the missions are in a good place to be modified. All the required data seems to be more or less intact, and I'm fairly confident these mission provider animations and voice lines can be replaced. Obviously, some work clearly remains for modifying mercenary and weapon data, and I can think of a few ways to better organize this stuff to make the process a little smoother. But this is a fantastic start. If anyone out there has any experience with Python and would like to be a part of this, don't be afraid to reach out to me on Discord. We have a server set up, and while we're not there all the time, it is a volunteer project after all. We are certainly there. Now, however, I'd like to talk to the individual who made this possible. And alright, I am here with WowJinxy, the intrepid Tanuki that has made the Wages of War data editor possible, and has opened the door to what will hopefully be further improvements into the data editor. Hello.
Hello.
So, I'm just going to get right into this with you. So, how long have you been cracking open games like this, so to speak?
I believe since 2011, 2012, around then.
So, you've been at this for a minute already. Do you remember the first game you did this to?
Yes, actually, I do. It was Rune Factory Frontier for the Nintendo Wii.
No, a Wii game. What compelled you to start with a Wii game?
I was emulating the game like a lot of people tend to do, and I was having a lot of fun with it, and then I reached about a quarter point way into the game when they introduced an entirely new mechanic that completely destroyed the gameplay of the previous part. And it ruined the game for me, essentially. So I went into the code of the game to patch that out just so I could play normally.
Jeez. Look, I've hated some games over the years. I've never had a hatred so deep that it inspired me to pick up a whole new skill set to destroy it. That is fascinating. Holy. And then you just found that you enjoyed the process?
Yeah, I don't really know if it just kind of like felt fun to me or what, but it just sort of clicked with me, and it made it very easy just to start taking apart other games. And I realized that at one point I was taking games apart more often than I was playing games.
Oh yeah, so the real fun for you is, you know what, I can respect that. Because as much as I like driving, I like working on cars when they're broken more than I like driving them when they're fixed. So I can totally understand that. So I know we just talked about this a little bit before we started recording, but like what's your basic process look like? When you first sit down with a game that you want to start getting into and disassembling, what are the first things you do?
The very first thing that I do is I see if the game is a known engine that is shared across other games. Because usually, if a game is shared an engine with another game, you can use the same tools or at least the same documentation from that game to help build a tool set or just already work on said game.
You had mentioned Unity games, since they're all pretty much standardized in terms of how they're built. That seems like a really easy place to start for anyone who's interested in getting into something like this. I would maybe suggest starting with Unity games.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a little program called DNSpy. It is a program that allows you to inspect C# DLLs, and it basically just lets you look right into the code of any Unity game that's not compiled with IL to CPP.
See, I didn't even know that. That's something I'm gonna have to. Okay, so see, I have the 14, 15 odd years you've been doing this. Have there been any particularly noteworthy challenges or obstacles you've faced? Like anything that sticks out more than the rest?
The past 3 years, I've been struggling with trying to get Zoo Tycoon 2 to actually decompile correctly. Zoo Tycoon 2 uses a DRM called Safe Disk 5. It is just outside of the versions that people have figured out how to remove from EXEs, so there's no tools at all that work with it. The worst part about it is that whenever I run the game in a debugger, or I attach a debugger to it while it's running, it pops up a custom error message saying please close debugger to continue. It's not using
debugger.
Yeah, it's not using a standard anti-debugger code. It's something custom that they have. So it's really, really difficult to actually get anywhere with it. Funny enough, though, the game engine that Zoo Tycoon 2 actually uses is Gamebryo, which is the exact same engine as Fallout 3.
Yeah, Gamebryo. Yeah, that's fascinating. That's like when I found out that Grand Theft Auto 3 and the old Burnout games were all using the same engine too, the MechWarrior engine, which blows my mind because they're you couldn't have two more polar opposite types of games.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's pretty awesome. Or like how Kenshi's made with Ogre of all things. Good God.
Oh man, like that is hell in a handbasket just for them even. Like I know the game you're talking about, Kenshi. It's a great game.
Yeah.
Doing anything with it is not fun.
They use Ogre. When I read that, it blew my mind, and simultaneously, every performance issue I ever had with the game all made sense all at the same time. Like, oh, that's why it runs like crap. Okay, fair enough. It doesn't matter what computer you throw at Kenshi, it's gonna run horrible. That's
yeah.
Beautiful. Zoo Tycoon 2, huh? Jeez. So I was going to ask you how you defeated your most notable challenge, but I see this is a work in progress.
I can't say that I've completely defeated it. I can say that I've managed to extract symbols from it, which is basically the names of functions and things like that,
Right.
by dumping my RAM to file and then manually extracting it from the RAM.
That's brutal.
It was a mess to do, and it's just horrible.
Yeah, that's so brutal. Jeez. So I guess by comparison, wages had to be pretty simple, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So how'd you approach cracking it open? Was it just as easy as grabbing the object files and throwing them into a program, or like what was there an established procedure?
I mostly use Ghidra for most of my reverse engineering. Sometimes I'll use IDA, but very rarely because it's a paid program and the version I have is very old, so it's not the easiest to get together. But Ghidra is completely free. It's Java, which isn't too bad, but they have hundreds and hundreds of plugins that people have made just for Ghidra to do all kinds of different consoles or files or whatever. The first thing that I knew I had to do was get rid of the CD requirement for the game, because let's face it, most modern computers don't even have CD drives anymore.
Drive? Yeah, exactly. What disk drive?
So yeah, I mostly searched for error messages. I took the address where the error message was and I tracked it down to see what was calling that address, and from there I just kind of like figured out what code to delete.
I mean, fair enough. I don't think anyone's going to call you out for deleting some code on this game, at least all these years later. I don't think anyone owns it now. I think the IP is actually dead in the water and just kind of free floating at this point. So I don't think anyone's going to care. But still on the topic of wages, anything interesting or noteworthy you found while working on wages aside from that one comment that you showed me? The find Alan, you hoser, if you see this or whatever.
Yeah, that was sometimes devs tend to hide little messages for other devs to get their attention. Like what was it? In Silent Hill, I think it was, there was a description for an item that says, if this is readable, blame Alan, or something like that.
Oh man, Alan's just messing up everywhere.
And it was so funny that in the first game that when they actually went and remake the game, they kept the message sort of and said, "Hey Alan."
Hey Alan, hope you're doing well, bud.
But I think the most interesting thing that I found was probably the world map thing that had like very crudely drawn shapes.
Yeah, that leftover, like that was obviously like cocktail napkin. I'll have to add a picture of it in post. But yeah, that was obviously like two guys were discussing this at lunch, and he was like, "Okay, so we have a world map," and he just like drew that up real quick. And I guess they needed something to serve as the map while they were prototyping the game, and I imagine that they used that because that's why it probably has color in the first place.
Oh yeah, for sure. At that kind of stage is known as dev art stage, where legitimately you throw whatever you can in the game just to get the code running while art assets are being worked on.
Yeah, so it just has something representative of the final product. So all right, so now this is the meatiest part of all my questions here, and this is in relation to the hurdles that are left in terms of modding Wages of War, the like mercenary voice lines, map tile data, the in mission mercenary portraits and the weapon portraits, because I have no clue where those things are hidden at this point, and like in terms of the game files themselves, I have no clue where else that data could be hidden.
There's a few options, but not a lot. For starters, they could have done something similar to the way that PlayStation used to handle various images, whenever an image was used in a group to make a larger image, usually because PlayStation had a very limited size of how large an image could be.
Yeah.
They would attach the files like back to back, so that way they would be read simultaneously. But then tools that are made later on to be able to read those files typically look for a footer for a file, so that way they know when the file is over. The problem with that is that it'll read the first file, find the footer of the first file, and think that's it.
I think I get you.
So that might be one of the reasons. Another thing could be that they compiled the data itself into the exe, which does happen. Yeah, I mean, it does happen and things like that. It wouldn't be fun to patch, that's for sure. But it might be easier just to extract the data and then point it to the extracted data, actually. Brainstorming there.
No, right, yeah, that's exactly where it's at now. And I pretty much made mention of that in the video, that's it. Like, because those are the last few things really for this thing to be like 100% feature complete.
Right.
I mean, and even then, the map tile data, like that's honestly not even that big of a deal. That would only really come in very handy if ever wanted to make a map editor for it.
Right.
But even then, just as far as the in mission assets go for the map, all that data's in there already. So that's already halfway there. It's just the actual like tile data for the map. I don't know what that is either. So, I mean, I don't think a complete teardown would be necessary for this game. Like, I don't think we'd have to completely decompile it and disassemble it.
Right. I mean, I'm probably gonna like come back to it in maybe a couple months and then just hit it hard and get it done with. But in general, I tend to take breaks for various projects that I work on. I usually work on about 10 to 12 different projects or about the same time.
Oh no, I get that. I've got like 5 different videos I'm working on right now, so I totally understand that. I hop from one thing to the other all the time.
It allows me to keep focus on things better without burnout. So
yeah, without burning out immediately on it. Yeah, no, I get that absolutely. So yeah, that was pretty much all my questions. If there's anything that you're currently working on now that you'd like to plug, or any channels or anybody you'd want to shout out or anything, this is your moment. Now's your time.
The current thing that I'm working on is something that I've been working on and off for about a year and a half now. It is porting Digimon World 1 to PC.
PlayStation game?
Yes. Thing about it is that it's very unique in terms of PlayStation games because Digimon World 1 released in Japan, Europe, and the United States all in 1999. And then in 2002, it released on PC only in South Korea. South Korea never got the PlayStation version, and the rest of the world never got the PC version.
Why do they do these things?
So, I've been decompiling the South Korean version to get it to work correctly with all the other versions' datas, and it is one of the more unique things I've ever dealt with. This was made 3 years after the game was released, and they used Windows Media Foundation, which is basically like a library designed to build Office software. I don't know why they use that to get the game running on PC, but it caused a lot of issues at first when trying to get things sorted, that's for sure.
Man, you know how to pick them. You sure know how to pick them. Holy. Yeah, I could see why you would need to take months at a time to away from it. That makes me want to throw my computer out the window now, and I'm not even working on it. Golly.
I kind of want to point out like the weirdest thing about the game, if you don't mind, which is
go for it.
They didn't translate the text in the game to Korean in a normal way you would imagine. because all the text is in the data files and in the map files instead of in the straightforward code. So instead, what they did was something I've never seen anyone ever do before. They built a regex, which is regular expression, a regex thing where it would take this file called convert.jk and it would search for every single Japanese string in the game, and whenever it would find those while the game was running, it would swap it out instantly for the Korean version.
So it does it live.
Yes. And the file is so weird because the convert.jk file is literally one line of shift.jis encoding, which is the Japanese, and then right after they change encodings to 949, which is the Korean, then back to shift.jis, then back to 949, and there's no programs out there that support two encodings at the same time.
Why do they do these things? You know, I know why they do these things. It's because they don't expect people like you to start poking around 20 years later trying to figure out how to make it happen. That's why they do these things, because they're like, there's no way. There's just no way someone's going to try and figure this out. So let's just do whatever we want.
But yeah, I picked up this project after GOG, the Good Old Games, had their Dreamlist thing that went up, and Digimon World was in the top 10 and even selected as a staff pick and never got brought over to PC. So
they probably can't figure it out either. There's probably somebody at the offices at GOG doing the same thing you're doing, slamming their head against the same wall, only at least they're getting salary for it. Man.
Isn't that true?
That is insane. The fact that, because so if it's a staff pick, that means that they for sure have tried to do this and couldn't.
They either tried to like work on the PC port as is, or they tried to get the source code for the game itself from, I believe it was Bandai, and Bandai said no.
Bandai probably didn't even have it at the time. I'm willing to bet. I'm sure so many companies
it wouldn't surprise me.
That crap out like as soon as the game ships. It's insane.
Yeah.
Every time someone's kid pops up on Reddit like, hey, I found this old dusty box in my dad's attic, and it's like the source code for StarCraft. Like, what?
I remember that. Like, Blizzard themselves paid the guy a lot of money for that because they didn't have it anymore.
Yeah, because they just, they just throw this stuff out. And then, not to mention, a lot of this, so much stuff was just like on floppies and in like old like disk drives and stuff back in the day. Just think about how many tons of floppies have been thrown out that had documentation or source code for some of these things. It's insane.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that was it. That was pretty much all the questions I wanted to ask. Do you have any parting thoughts or last things you want to throw in there?
I'd like to thank everyone at the Dole Decomp Discord for being kind to me and helping me with learning a lot of the starting stuff that I did. It's not very easy to find people that are willing to sit there and actually explain things out. And so I definitely owe most of my knowledge to them because they were willing to help me out at the start.
That's cool. Big shout out to those people. Again, I never thought I'd be in a position where I'd be able to modify this game, and just exploring the structure of the files and seeing how all this stuff has been put together. Like, literally, it's been a dream of mine since I was 10 years old, because this game has more or less just been witchcraft to me my entire life.
Oh yeah.
So to be able to see some of these hidden stats and start seeing how some of this sausage is made has just been an incredible experience for me. So again, thank you.
Thank you.
This has been really awesome. Thank you for your time. Thank you for letting me interview you. This has been really cool. I enjoyed this. All right, so let's go ahead. I think I'm just going to hit stop recording now.